Welcome to Mollyuan with Chris. My name is Chris, and I'll be your host for this. And here's my team.
Oh, hi there. Didn't see you. I was just doing some research for a month conference coming up here. So, why don't we actually talk about how we do research? Let me share some facts with you, tips. A good place to start as always, since you're not actually writing an essay or anything. Wikipedia, if you want something more reliable, the CIA will fact book. However, the key sign of a beginner munner who's inexperienced and doesn't know what they're doing is gonna go to the CIA World Factbook and print everything out. Let's take an example, shall we? Let's go to Canada. Everyone knows Canada, right? Are you Canadian? Are you really? Do you know about Canada? Let's see if you do. So, as you see, we have a flag, we have a map of the country. Don't print that out. You don't need that. Introduction. Background. A land of vast distances and rich natural resources, Canada became a self-governing dominion in 1867, while retaining ties to the British Crown. Blah blah blah, not really all that important. Moving on to geography, geographic coordinates, map references, total land area. Just you don't need that. Save your ink, save the trees. Okay? It's good to get a general understanding and read all of this to know that, Canada is part of the British Crown, part of the Commonwealth. Understand that, read that, learn your country in that sense. But don't print it out. You don't need it, okay? Don't print out maps of your country either. You should probably just know where your country is relatively on the map, okay? Let's talk about other things. So, when you talk about research, what do you research? That's the hardest part. People don't know where to start, what to look for. It's relatively easy to find things. You just type it into Google and something shows up for you. So you want to look for things. You Google your topics, Google the keywords in your topics, things that you're looking for. Okay, that's great to look for things in news sources such as CNN, CBC, BBC, Reuters, other news sources. You want to look for these type of things. Watch some interviews on YouTube. Look up other news stories, watch some videos or some understandings. Maybe if you're doing a historical committee, do some research on that historical event. If you're doing a World War I crisis committee, we'll learn about World War I, right? That's just general knowledge. When we talk about specifics of what you want to research, they're the things I already mentioned before in argument construction and argument content, things that you can put in quotes, good stats and facts, things that you can use really quickly off the limb. This is really important for crisis too, but we talk about that in a crisis videos series that we have as well. But what you really want to focus on is things that you can put in your resolutions. That's what you really actually make up. You have to understand the issue, right? You can understand what maritime, let's say, piracy is, but if you don't know how to combat it, what laws are in place, what you can do, what the UN is allowed to do, how sovereignty works, then you're never actually going to get anywhere, right? You want to research these kind of things. There's also other things that you want to reference in your resolutions, which I will get to in the resolution video. You can click right over here on the link. So, you have to put in preambulatory clauses. You have to reference other previous UN resolutions, things that have been done in the past, things that are happening in the present, things that you need to acknowledge, recognize, understand, to give a general understanding to the rest of the committee that you know what you're talking about. You can't just really make all these things up. You should be well-versed, well-researched. It's more important to have fluidity and understanding of what you want to do in a conference rather than try to overplan everything and predict everyone's moves. Like, when USA says this, I'm going to say this. Don't do that. That's overplanning. Makes you rigid, makes you tight. If things don't go how you expect it to go, then you freak out, and that's just not a good way to do it. I also recommend writing position papers, although they're not usually required for conferences within Calgary at least. Whether or not you actually write a position paper, at least list out the points. Have lists that can understand and write down everything that you want, all your goals, your solutions, suggestions, things like that. So organize your things maybe in flowcharts, maybe in graphics, maybe in a list, maybe in paragraphs, maybe in an essay form, and that should be really all you need to bring to your Mollyuan conference other than a few quotes, stats, facts, previous resolutions to cite into your resolution. But other than that, you should be well versed enough that you almost don't need a research binder. Give me a second. See, this is all the research I did for one conference I did in the Security Council. So as you can see, it's quite thick. There's a lot of information in here. Honestly though, I've only used 3 pages, one for each topic, where there's a summary or breakdown of what I already had, a few stats and other quotes for as I was in a crisis committee. That's separate, specific for that, and as well as some pages of quotes from President Barack Obama, just to provide some basis for some of my speeches as well. So honestly, just keep everything nice and simple. You should be well versed. You don't need a huge research binder. You should have all that information in your head. Have enough that you can reference things for some speeches, for your resolutions, for your working papers, and to entice others with your point hook action. Hope that helped.